Joining us now on 710 where we will continue our Get to Know the Candidate series. Can we
Getting
call
to
it series?
know you. Well, yeah, it's become a
Yeah,
series.
why
More than
not?
two is a series.
We called in Eddie CANTU, running for Precinct 2, and you can see his signs all over
Hidalgo
everywhere
County Precinct 2 County Commissioner.
of Hidalgo County. Oh, that's right. And he's been in that business for quite some time. So thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So what made you decide to run for Precinct 2?
Well, the last 6 years, I was on the city commission in FAR, and I stepped down in August to run for this position. And the way I made my decision is I really love contributing to my community. I really love doing what's best for the people in this area, and I serve the people of FAR. And I noticed that there was a little bit of a lack of help from Precinct 2 for the area, for the people that live in the area. So I thought that I think the precinct needed somebody new, somebody with my kind of resume, with my kind of experience, with my kind of background to come in with some fresh ideas and to change it up, to make it a better place to live and work.
What would describe for people what the physical nature of Precinct 2 is?
Sure. It's all of FAR, all of San Juan, all of Hidalgo, and about 60% of McAllen.
60%, really?
Somewhat Daffodil and South. I don't want to get into the boundary because it goes up and down.
Yeah.
It's kind of gerrymandered. And there's two precincts in Alamo, a northern precinct and a very southern precinct. But it's a very small percentage of Alamo.
So you mentioned some new, fresh ideas. What are some things that we could look forward to if you win the nomination and go on?
Well, first and foremost, roads are important to the precinct. I mean, they're important to everybody. It's something that people deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed is that Precinct 2 gets very little of the money that's apportioned to the county. It gets, for the last 4 years, it's only gotten about 9% of the monies available. And so I think that we need to go in there and pretty much get at least what we can.
I thought the road and bridge, I thought that the road money or the construction or maintenance money was divided into four.
Absolutely not.
Does it go by by miles then?
No, not at all. What it does, it goes by what project is ready and what project will help the county move forward. There's different tiers of money, but the MPO, which is the Hidalgo County Metropolitan
Planning Organization,
mm-hmm. decides on what projects, has a lot of decision-making ability and what project to do. But you have to have a project ready for it to qualify. And so if you don't have enough projects ready or you don't have any projects ready, then you're not going to get any of the money.
Well, I'm a literalist, so what would a project be, for example?
Owasso Road.
Widening,
redoing. In that case, Owasso doesn't have curb and gutter. It needs to be widened. It's actually a major thoroughfare if you consider, where DHR is and all the traffic that leaves that area and gets to 281.
Owasso becomes Dove then.
Yes, sir.
In McAllen.
Yes, sir.
So how long does it take to bring a project to readiness, and who prepares it? Is there a county person or a precinct person?
That's a great question. It's actually a precinct person, and projects should take 2 to 3 years from start to finish. You prepare a project, which means you engineer it, and you propose it, and you explain to the MPO why it's so important, why it's so vital to the area. And you're not limited to one project or 5 projects. You do as many as you can, as many as you need. You don't go out and overexpend in engineering fees, but if you see a project like Owasso that needs to be done, then you prepare it, present it, and you try to get the money. And the way I work is, in anything that I've ever done, is I'm not going to do one project and then kind of just let that happen for several years and rest on my laurels. You got to keep doing projects, and the more projects you do, the better it is for the whole precinct.
So it's you would keep something boiling on the stove all the time?
Always.
Now, does that mean that each precinct has its own engineer, or to use the county engineer, or how does that work?
Each precinct's able to choose, whatever engineer that they want. Of course, the better the engineer, the better work that they do.
But they're not on staff?
No, sir.
Okay.
So you've been with FAR for quite some time. That's going to help you, I guess. I would assume, as Hidalgo County.
Help him or hurt him, one of the two.
It would help you in FAR, but you're not going to. I'll give you this one. you're not gonna play any favors on just focus on FAR, right?
Can you soften that question up a little bit?
Hold on, there he is, a little higher.
No, I mean, when I got elected to represent FAR, I represented FAR as hard as possible, and I did everything possible for FAR. I'm on the Boys and Girls Club in FAR, and so my attention is to them. But now I'm taking on a new position, and I have to represent the whole precinct. I'm going to have different constituency, and they're going to have different needs, and I'm going to have to do what's necessary for all of them. And if I don't get reelected. I mean, that's the obvious thing.
Is it going to be a lot more to juggle from what you used to do?
Yes, it is, but it's also a full-time job. Being a city commissioner is it's what you want to put into it. You may put a little time, you may put a lot of time. A county commissioner, they kind of expect you to be there.
But don't you have a job already? Aren't you a lawyer?
I'm a lawyer, but I don't practice. I have a construction company. Most of the work I do is by phone. I get a couple of calls, but I have 2 salesmen and I have a full staff. I own an event center. It's fully staffed. I mean, it's things that I could do at lunchtime. It's things that I can do on the weekend, but I will give the precinct what it needs.
Wow.
How does a county commissioner, I mean, the city of McAllen is not rural Hidalgo County. City of FAR is not rural Hidalgo County. What does a county commissioner have to do with the cities that are, I'm sputtering, I assume commissioners made sense when we were rural, but not when we're metropolitan.
Well, a lot of the roads are both county they're both rural and urban. And so, for instance, Owassa, it's a city road, but the county needs to take responsibility for it, and they can build Owassa. Right now, as an example, where roads being widened in the north part of town, a lot of that is urban. Some of it's rural.
Hidalgo County is participating in that project.
Absolutely. I believe there's 3 partners on that, or 2 partners, City of McAllen and Precinct 3.
Joseph Palacios' precinct.
Correct. And so, take Joseph as an example. He's done a real good job leveraging monies, being able to use the money that he has in his precinct and getting additional monies from whether it be the MPO, the state, the feds. You got to be able to leverage your money. You have a certain amount of money. You need to be able to leverage it so you can do more projects. If you're only counting on the money that you have in the bank, you're going to do a lot less projects than everybody else.
Well, we're almost out of time, but two questions. Number one, do you think we need a new courthouse, as the incumbent county judge and commission says? And what do you think about the property taxes? Aside from you don't like them, you need to raise taxes?
Well, I would always be against raising taxes. And you and I have had this conversation before. The county courthouse is necessary because it's 50, 60 years old. But just like any business person, you need to find money within your accounts to be able to build something. If you're a business person, you want to build a new building, you don't raise taxes. You can't raise taxes. So you got to find a way to either cut costs or you leverage your money. That's the way you build the courthouse. You don't raise taxes. You don't pass bond deals. You find money within yourself. Why has the M&O budget doubled in the last few years in the county?
Operation?
Yes. You just said that it looks like the county has gone from rural to urban, right? So we should have less needs. Yet our M&O has doubled.
Why is it my fault, Eddie? Jeez, this is like being at home. Well, we're almost out of time. But so, do you think we need a new courthouse, however it's paid for, or is it your view that the need's not established?
I believe the need is there, but you don't build it no matter what.
All right. Eddie CANTU was a FAR City Commissioner for 6 years, and he resigned that to run for the Democratic nomination for Place 2 for County Commission Precinct number 2 in Hidalgo County.
Yeah.
I said right. Precinct 2?
Early vote starts 17th?
18th.
18th.
Write it on your hand.
I thought I wrote it on the paper. I put the wrong number.
Eddie CANTU, thank you for being with us. You're listening to 710 KURV.